Hello again. In this video, I want to just explain to you why you're not broken. And actually, you never were broken. Because I have found that many people arrive at healing already tired and weary, tired of trying to fix themselves, tired of carrying a quiet sense of defectiveness. Like, there's something, and they say, I don't know what's wrong with me. And they're tired of believing that if they could just try harder, think differently, and finally get it right, that something inside them would settle. Well, this is where true healing begins, not with effort, but with a profound reframe. And I want to give you that reframe now because you're not broken. Anxiety, people pleasing, emotional shutdown, avoidance, hypervigilance, these are not personal flaws. These are intelligent adaptations formed in response to environments that just didn't feel safe. They lacked safety, they lacked attunement and or consistency. So when the nervous system grows up without reliable safety, it learns to adapt. Yeah, and look, there's a lot of parent blaming, or rather even mother blaming, and children growing up feeling unsafe. Many of them I see, and I saw an elderly lady, just a bit older than me, um, uh, uh, a year or two ago, and she was telling me what a dreadful time she had with her mother. But it turned out this lady had grown up during the war, and they had been evacuated. Their houses had been bombed several times, and they'd been evacuated, and she had been evacuated, and she had loads of trauma and a very young mum who was trying to keep them all alive. But all she remembered was her mum being short-tempered and nasty to her all the time. And she had grown up believing there was something wrong with her and that her mother didn't love her. But actually, when we looked at it and actually recontextualized it, she saw that actually that was just the child in her perceived it that way, and it wasn't actually true. And she'd been lucky to stay alive, really. So when our nervous system grows up without reliable safety, it learns to adapt and it becomes alert, it becomes compliant, but there can be a learning to withdraw and that hypervigilance that happens, or it can be self-sacrificing, not because something's wrong, but because something once needed managing. So healing begins the moment that you stop interpreting the patterns as failure and start recognizing them as survival strategies. And as soon as you realize a lot of those things that you see as personal flaws or failures are actually adaptations to a very early traumatic event, in that moment, shame loosens, compassion becomes possible, and the inner atmosphere changes, your inner weather changes. And, doing this work is not self indulgence, it's kind of restructuring and reconstructing your beliefs and your perceptions and bringing them up to date. And so that awareness is necessary before change, because many people try to change themselves before they actually understand themselves, and that they apply pressure where curiosity really is needed, as opposed to, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. um, Kind of, I wonder what happened to me is a better question. I wonder what it was that happened to me that resulted in me having these patterns. You know, the tendency is to be critical or to blame yourself or to blame your parents or to blame your mother mostly. So where curiosity really is needed and where attunement is required. But awareness isn't, it's not a passive thing, but awareness is deeply, deeply transformative. And change is really difficult to force on yourself without that awareness and reframing. So when you bring gentle, non-judging attention to your inner world, your nervous system begins to feel seen rather than corrected and judged. Because rushed change and forced change often really recreates the very pressure that caused the wound in the first place. And awareness, instead, by wondering and becoming more aware, it creates space, and space, not pressure, space um, creates choice, and it allows the answers to come to you. And choice is the foundation of real change. You're not forcing something on yourself. When you were young and when things happen to you, um, things were felt forced, and then you try to change yourself by force. So by raising awareness and taking your time and just wondering, and journaling is excellent for helping to reflect and change, bring about change. So healing does not unfold through force, but it unfolds through understanding yourself, understanding the people around you, having some compassion for yourself, and reframing the circumstances in the situation, and perhaps considering a different meaning for a lot of the things that you gave a particular meaning to. So, growth can't occur in a state of threat. And when the nervous system's braced for danger or higher functions shut down, and learning creativity, intimacy, emotional flexibility, all that diminishes. And it's not psychological weakness, it's not a flaw, it's just biology. Because cultivating a sense of emotional safety, it's not indulgent, it is regulatory. And it's important to learn, for all of us, to learn how to regulate our own system. And really, you can't do that if you're feeling unsafe. But when safety is present, curiosity returns. And when safety is absent, survival takes over. You're in survival mode, and then you'll get into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And those states, you know, uh, you need to regulate your system to feeling safe. So, with regulation and containment and a gradual restoration of safety, healing is possible. So often, this process of learning to regulate and install a feeling of safety, it starts in very, very small ways. It starts with you paying attention to yourself and just getting off your own back, starting to be more curious. It starts off in moments of ease and brief pauses and environments where your body can soften and you can just drop your shoulders. Do that now. Just drop your shoulders and see the difference that makes by just dropping your shoulders, even temporarily. And these moments matter more than you realize. If you even just throughout the day can say to yourself, drop your shoulders, because repeating patterns are often taken as evidence that we're incapable of change. And that's not true. That's just a belief. In truth, patterns persist because they are unfinished conversations. They are the nervous system's attempt to try to resolve something that just hasn't been understood or integrated. And patterns are not enemies, they are messengers. And often, we don't even realize we've got patterns. And when we fight them, they tighten. And when we listen to them, they begin to soften and loosen. So healing doesn't require erasing patterns, but rather understanding what is it that they're protecting us from and why they once made sense. So listening to your body changes the relationship with the symptoms, and relationships change outcome. So healing is a relationship, it's not a technique. There is no technique that can replace a relationship. So healing unfolds through consistency, presence, compassion, spending time with yourself, especially in how you relate to your own inner experience. When healing becomes something you do to yourself, it often replicates pressure and self-abandonment. So when healing becomes a relationship to your inner world, to your inner self, trust begins to grow. And that shift in relationship is moving away from finding fault with yourself, what's wrong with me, to what happened to me. Being curious, being attentive, noticing that tightening in your chest and that tightening across your neck and shoulders. Just noticing without judgment. And the fact that you will regularly take time to do that, to just notice. And I wonder what it is that made me tighten like that. I wonder what it is that causes this tight sensation in my chest. I wonder what it is that causes my abdomen to tighten. So, just beginning to pay attention to those things. This is not about perfection. It's not about fixing anything or everything. It's just about staying with yourself in an attitude of curiosity and attentiveness, and staying present with yourself when it's uncomfortable, because often we want to get away from the uncomfortable. But it's not possible to heal discomfort without feeling the uncomfortable. So staying connected when you would normally withdraw or distract yourself, and staying curious instead of critical. This is the foundation upon which everything else rests. So this is where healing begins. So the foundations of healing are not dramatic. That's quiet and relational and gentle and deeply compassionate and humane. The foundations begin really with recognizing that you were shaped by what you lived. It was just the circumstances of your life and the environment and what you were surrounded with. And you don't have to be critical of that either. It was what it was. And by noticing through awareness rather than force, the foundations deepen and stabilize through safety rather than urgency. Oh, gotta fix it. No, just take the pressure off, ease, relax, wonder, journal, make notes for yourself. And over time, that you'll find that it creates a life that feels much more inhabitable from the inside when you get off your own back and just ease up and take a pause and take a breath. And if you're beginning your healing journey, and or even if you're further along and sense that something more fundamental is being asked for, this is where to begin. So, not by trying harder, not by picking at yourself and finding fault with yourself or other people, even, but just by understanding more kindly. So, I've created a full Foundations of Healing playlist on my YouTube channel, and each of these principles is explored gently and in depth with space for reflection and to do some journaling. And I would encourage you to click the link below and to answer the questions at the end of each of the short videos with questions for reflection and journaling at the end. So begin where you are and go at your own pace and trust that healing it doesn't require you to become somebody else. It's about coming home to yourself. So don't forget to click the link. And if you find this useful, you might want to click subscribe so that you can get some more videos like this. So bye for now. Bye.